What's good in the hood? Coming back at you with another prediction. UFC 323 is upon us this weekend. It's the end of an era. Last pay per view of the year. Last pay per view ever. Cough, cough, knock on wood if Dana doesn't become greedy again and start charging us again. But nonetheless, this is a pretty stacked pay per view overall. I'm going to focus on the main event today, keep it short and sweet. But I will say, from top to bottom, there are a plethora of good fights to watch. Special attention to my boy Jalen Turner, the Tarantula, making his return after a short-lived retirement against a legend in Edson Barbosa. Guaranteed entertainment. Edson might be past the hill, as they say, but he's still a phenomenal striker. I believe the only man to have finishes by leg kick, body kick, and head kick. Jalen Turner, obviously, he puts on wars. Long, lanky guy for the division. At times misses weight. Probably will be the man to miss weight this weekend. But he does like to put his tarantula on the scale, so keep an eye out for that. Martin Vittori, former title challenger on a skid, but the man has an infinite chin, so expect fireworks here. Our girl Macy Barber coming off her fight of the year contender against Erin Blanchfield. She actually didn't even get to the cage because of health emergencies. So I believe it was seizures. So if we're being fully honest, happy to see that she's able to return. Like I said, top 5 in the flyweight. Flyweight's popping right now. So if she can get past Green Silva, do a little call out, this and that. Keep an eye out on that. Terrence McKinney, this man either gets KO'd or gives KOs. So another one that you should not forget, even though it's on the prelims. Grant Dunson, pretty fun, pretty boring, but he's ranked, he's lightweight, he can wrestle, so is what it is. Main card, I really like Henry Cejudo versus Payton Talbot. If you haven't kept up with the news, supposedly, and I believe it, they're friends to a degree. Payton has went out and worked with Henry, got some coaching, some advice, techniques on how to be cringe or make his own form of cringe. I mean, check out these tattoos. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Henry says it's his retirement. He's teased this many a times. I mean, he was retired for a few years before coming out of retirement. But yeah, I mean, he's coming off multiple losses in a row. And I expect, and as he alluded to this, there's only really a few fights that would draw him out. Those would be like a title fight, Brandon Moreno, and Sugar Sean. So other than those fights that he probably won't get, this is a retirement fight. Payne Talbot, one of those prospects that while he did get fraud checked earlier this year, came back out a win. And for him, this is something where I believe Henry's still ranked in the division, the bantamweight division, which is kind of crazy since even though he's a former champ, he hasn't won since retiring. If Payton gets this win, which I don't expect it, the man can't defend a takedown, and you're going against Olympic gold medalists. It's still going to be very interesting. I think just the size alone and the fact that Henry, damaged goods or not with his eye, is way past his prime. So definitely special attention to that. As I've said with my ranking with weight classes, flyweights, both of them, expect fireworks. Flyweights in general always put on good fights. I don't see, especially when they're like top 5, no less than outranked, non-ranked ones, they always put on fireworks. So even if you're not familiar, if you're a true casual and you don't really know any of these boys, don't miss them. But the one I want to put a lot of attention to, because this one, there's been a lot of brewingness to get back to this point. If you're not aware, these boys have already fought once, way back in the day. This was during Merab's conquering of the division, killing off everyone, and while he was, waiting for his boy Sterling to either, vacate the belt to move up, or obviously what actually happened was that he lost the belt, which gave Merab the access point to go take it from Sean. But yeah, this is a very compelling, interesting fight. On the one hand, you have Merab. If you're not aware of Merab, let's go look at his profile. The Machine. The Machine. This dude's a killer. I mean, he has won so many fights in a row against such high-level competition. I remember back when he nearly got finished by Moraes. I can't even say this name. Came back. showed some heart, and then Marlon Moraes, the Magic, no longer here. He's on like a 9-fight, 10-fight skid, I believe, in like multiple promotions. But after that one, where he got cracked, came back, got his TKO, he just started going through such high level competition. Aldo, 4-1 champ, considered by some as one of the GOATs, went out there, beat him. Very boring, but beat him. He obviously got past Jan, 5 rounds, put on a clinic when it came to wrestling. Shot, I believe, 50 plus takedowns, so it was every 30 seconds, or if I'm doing my math, 25 minutes. Yeah, I got my grade 12. He shot a takedown every 30 seconds on average. He only got like 8 or 9 in their first fight, but that was a big one, especially Jan, former interim holder. So that was a big credibility boost for Merab, and that was 2 years ago, give or take. Then he beat Cejudo, who was coming off his losses to Sterling, but still was considered very upper tier in the weight class, and also was taking down Cejudo, like doing all sorts of stuff. And then moving on, he finally got the match against O'Malley. Dana was his hand was kind of forced. Merab was like, I think he had like 9 wins at that point in a row, 8 wins, and against multiple former champs. Went out there. There was the cube. Oh, I meant the spear. The good old spear card. Went out there and destroyed O'Malley. I mean, it was close, but at the end of the day, it was 5 rounds of grappling mixed with some striking exchange. So maybe destroyed is not the best thing. You can go watch, I think it's MMA Gods' take on O'Malley actually having a case to win that fight. Regardless, then he went out, took Umar's O. This was a big win, obviously, in a feather for his cap. Umar at the time was considered somewhat, and by some, the best in the division. Obviously, very high level wrestling, accomplished. Yeah, cannot speak today. Paired with very high level striking, very good kicks and all that. And Merab went out there and he was a dog. He took lots of shots. He challenged the wrestling. He stopped the wrestling. And then by then he's doing emotes and, Umar's needing an inhaler. Cough, cough, Greg Hardy. Then he goes out, beats O'Malley again, this time by finish, which is bananas. And then just recently, and this is the other big thing, is the fact that he's going to have 4 title fights in one calendar year, a record if he can, especially defend. But then he goes out and beats Sandhagen, and he almost finishes Sandhagen by strikes, which is scary because now you think Sandhagen, he's worrying about the takedowns, but he's a good scrambler, and he seemed kind of fearless. He went out there and cracked him in the round 2 and was putting him on skates, and you're thinking, all right, Merab isn't as bad as he used to be when it comes to striking. In the case of Sean, he's getting better with his jiu-jitsu, looking for actual submissions rather than just going for ground and pound. So his skill set's greatly improved since the last time he fought, or the first time he fought Peter. However, Peter Pan. Mr. Peter, one of my faves, no mercy, 19-5. His record's rather interesting. You go back. He has, let's go really back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those cancellations. 4. Oh, that was a big one. Should be more on here. UFC's hiding. And also, I don't know why they're not showing we got a $1 billion company, and I know he beat Faber pretty badly, and they're not even showing the win mark there. Regardless, he had a pretty strong rise up to his first shot against Sterling for the gold. Obviously, it ended in I think Peter calls it an Oscar award performance. Nonetheless, he was doing very well against Sterling the first time around. Ended up blowing it by doing an illegal knee. And then Sterling, I believe, needed like neck surgery, so he was out for a bit, a little over a year, which resulted in Jan getting an intern fight against Sandhagen. He looked good. It obviously went 5 rounds, but at times he's putting on a clinic. Kraken dropped Sandhagen, I believe, at least once. Then he got the rematch against Sterling. And as we go to MMA decisions, it was a very close fight. 48-47 Sterling, 47-48 Jan, 48-47 Sterling. Split decision. Major media outlets had given, I don't know how we got 48-45. So about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 picked as, or 11 picked as Sterling. 5 were a draw, 2 were Jan. So most people thought Sterling won. I emphasize this only because it was very close, and Sterling, even though he lost to O'Malley, is probably one of the bantamweight goats, and at the time was one of the scariest men in the division, especially once he has title reign going. But even then, he lost that fight. It's tough, right? You have You have a loss and a no contest to the current champ. You need to get back. He fights O'Malley. I believe this was in the Middle East. He loses this one. This one is considered probably one of the greatest controversies you'll ever see when it comes to crap judging. YouTube, don't cancel me for my weak swears. But I mean, this one, look at this. Split decision in favor of O'Malley, 29-28. You look at the scoring. What is this? 20, almost 30 people, 30 different media outlets picked Jan. Some even did it 3-0, 3-nip. And then you have this one, Mr. Matthew Wells. We'd like to do an interview with you and have you recap your mindset that day, see what you were on. But yeah, I mean, it was a big robbery. My point being is Peter, he's lost to Sterling once. He lost to Merab after his O'Malley loss. The O'Malley loss, I think we can just agree he beat O'Malley. It was a war, and it's one of my dream fights that they have a rematch. And O'Malley cracked him. Like, it wasn't like Jan had a squeaky easy win. Overall, he won, and he looked very good with a mix of grappling and striking, but he lost. But as a true fan will say, he won. The Merab fight, he some argue he did the best out of everyone, especially during Merab's terror reign that he's on right now when it comes to stopping the takedowns. But yeah, I mean, it was still a loss. So he really has two true losses. He has the Jan, or what am I saying? Jan lost to Jan. He has the loss to Merab, and he has the loss to Sterling. The Sterling one was very close. Since then, he's come back, and I believe he had to have surgery on his knee. He like blew his knee out, and this is actually part of the topic for this fight. Is that Merab, he was injured. He had like a bad hand. I believe his left hand was pretty beat up their first fight. MMA Junkie, don't sue me. So both the fighters were actually injured going into the fight. Merab, supposedly, and this was coach said, he was upset because Jan was injured. I believe he had a bum shoulder, and on top of that, he tore his knee, his ACL, in like the first round. So he couldn't really use one of his shoulders when it came to striking. But on the flip side, Merab had like a bum left hand. We're all injured, which is true. Like, everyone's gonna be to a degree injured. Pretty much the we're gonna paraphrase for all this is that Merab was injured and couldn't necessarily strike that well. Peter was injured with his shoulder and couldn't strike, and in turn also blew his knee out, probably from stopping 40 out of the 50 takedowns. So you have to keep in mind, and they're always going to exaggerate the percentages, but I do believe Peter when he says he was injured going in, and on top of that, the facts are he blew his knee out and was out for a while. And I do a lot of PT. I follow him on social media for a while. I mean, did not look fun. But now he's on a 3-fight win streak. Whoopsies. Song Yadong aged very well. You know, Song Yadong, I believe, is top 5 in the division. Coming off that win over Cejudo. He's got a fight against O'Malley. Like, he's on the cusp of actually getting that title shot. Beats Figueiredo. It was a good win back then. It's definitely not aging as well as you'd hope. McGee was, I think, a win just in the event of no one really in the top 10 was available to fight Jan. Jan took him. At times, it wasn't the most exciting. Jan, I always prize having some of the most exciting fights. At times, he was playing the veteran move, which I honestly think, and you could argue with some of these fights, at least the last 3, where there was moments where you're thinking, Jan isn't being, as they say, no mercy as he has on his uprise, was just because, he's got some losses on his record, and he's also been chasing that Merab rematch, because that's like the biggest stain probably on his resume right now. And the fact is that the rematch is, very much available if he can get those wins. So I feel like at times he might have held the gas tank per se, the risk level that he might have displayed in his past fights, because he just knew if I can get the wins, I already have a resume of putting on good fights. Like, management will give me the win, or like give me like the title shot, especially if Merab is still there for a rematch. But back to my prediction. I feel torn because, on the one hand, you can't really bet against Merab, and the odds show that -485, which is bananas. Makes me want to go get a code and slap this on the channel and use it myself. I mean, plus 370 is frankly disrespectful to Jan, especially if there's no probably, unless there's some inside knowledge, as we'll we'll probably eventually find out, and he is like injured or whatever, has a tough weight cut. If anything, Merab's gonna be the one that's gonna be compromised with the tough weight cut and all that. But it's tricky because Merab is probably the most, I won't say the most dominant champion because someone like Hamzat or even Islam would probably take that throne. But Merab is like the most, he's the most active, dominant champion just on average in the sense of he's cleaned out the division faster than everyone else, and he's doing it in a way that, generally speaking, even if the fights go the full distance, it's not like he's ever in danger. He wasn't really. I mean, Sean put him a little bit of danger. I think like the fifth round with like a body strike. Other than that, he's just been smooth sailing. And then obviously on the flip side, Jan has losses that are a lot more recent than Merab's early career losses. So you've seen Jan not look good, and you haven't seen him look good against Merab, no less, even though he's the best that's looked against Merab. So it's a weird pickle of like, yes, Merab is the safe bet, but I really believe that Peter, if he, especially the knee one is no different. I mean, the fact that he blew his ACL and multiple other things and needed to get this lengthy knee surgery, and the fact that he still defended 40 out of like 80% of the takedowns across a 5 round fight makes me think he's going to do a lot better. He's still going to get taken down because Merab has definitely improved his just ability to get takedowns. His second fight with Sean, he was just like a sniper out there. But it just makes me think Peter's going to do a potentially better job than he did the first time, which means there's going to be more time on the feet. And if we're breaking down the fighters on a raw level, Merab's striking is better, but Peter's the better striker. Peter's probably the better Petr. Can't say his name right. Petr. Jan. Jan is definitely the better overall fighter. He has, I'd say, more diverse striking, more power. He has his own takedowns that like that weird like was an inside. It's like he puts his leg behind his opponent, like their ankle, and he just like kind of pushes them and falls on them. Beauty to watch. Go watch his fight with Sean. He does that a few times. He has some takedowns. He seems to have awareness of jiu-jitsu. He does not get submitted. And on top of that, he has pretty good ability to get back up. Like he doesn't. I mean, Sterling would hold him down, but that was when he actually got the backpack and like the body lock and all that. I don't see Merab doing things like the body lock. Merab's gonna probably try to just get half guard, this and that, full mount, just grind because Merab's definitely on the level that Sterling is on just general jiu-jitsu and submission threat. So it just makes me think that Peter went the full 5 rounds. And he had moments they looked good with the supposedly a compromised shoulder, and on top of that, a confirmed blown out knee. I think it's very reasonable that Peter could steal rounds on this, which makes it get a little more interesting. Because if it goes 5 rounds, yeah, Merab's the safe bet because he has infinite cardio, but Peter's got good cardio too. Peter's done a couple 5-round fights already. He's done a 5-round Sterling. He's done he went almost the full 5 rounds with Aldo. He went the full 5 rounds with Merab. Who else did he go 5 rounds with? He went 5 rounds with Figueiredo. I mean, I'm not a betting man. If I was a betting man, you'd still have to go with Peter just because Merab's just not incentivizing. But I want to, for the sake of at least getting one sub and draw some attention, I want to go Jan. I just don't know if he's going to win. You would think he has to win by a finish. He has to win by TKO because it just doesn't feel like he's going to be able to win a 48-47 or let alone a 49-46 against Merab. That's just not reasonable. Even if you stop all the takedowns, Merab's still going to be like pushing against the cage, doing a lot of general striking that isn't significant, but enough to squeak the rounds by like he did in the past with Aldo. Aldo stopped all the takedowns. Still couldn't do anything against Merab, and Merab stole the rounds. But I'm going to go with what I want to see because I think this is what opens up the division heavily. I think Jan's going to win. My boy Jan. Jan's going to win by... I don't know if he'll be KO, but I'm gonna give him a TKO KO finish, maybe around between rounds 3 and 4. I'll lean round 3. Round 3, Jan by finish. I think it's literally just gonna be a case of he's gonna be doing his little round 1, like they call it, like data download. Oops, Slip that one out. That meme, just where it's like he just like spends the whole round just downloading it. I'm gonna think that Jan, assuming he doesn't blow his knee out a second time, he's gonna try to get that timing down for that takedown. And if he can, I expect him to be able to stop as many, if not more, takedowns than the first fight with Merab. And I just feel like on the feet, Merab, it just sometimes like his defense is not there. Like he was getting cracked a lot by Umar. And obviously Umar was able to talk to takedowns, which is why he was more confident and more able to get strikes against Merab. He obviously didn't do more than at times rock Merab, and Merab seems to have a pretty good chin. But we've seen Merab hurt. Um, Peter, I just think like Peter could crack him, and if Merab takes a crappy shot, Peter can stop it, and as long as he can keep it on the feet while he's hurt, I think he'd finish Merab. Odds are very low that happens, probably like 20-80 in favor of Merab, but I think it's just better for the division because if this happens, you have all sorts of options to come up. You could do the trilogy between Merab and Jan, but if Merab gets knocked out or TKO'd, you put that on hold, and you know what you get to do one of my dream fights. You get to do Jan and O'Malley. O'Malley's fighting January against Yadong, y'all dong, Yadong. That one's very interesting because obviously O'Malley needs a win after losing back to back to Merab, but it's pre-built where if O'Malley comes out of that with a win and Petr comes out with the win, they can have their elusive rematch and for the belt no less. Now I don't know how that will look if O'Malley has the belt and then what do we have, like a third fight with him and Merab down the road. Doesn't matter. In the short term, you can do that. You can do Jan versus O'Malley. And then the fact that Umar is already booked, Umar obviously the odd man out currently. Umar, I believe, he's it's not showing here, but I believe he's booked for the January card. I don't know why it's not showing yet because he's fighting Figueroa. Figueroa. That one's kind of just, I feel like, a placeholder because he's not getting the shot yet. But it would be interesting is if Merab lost, then you could do Merab Umar 2, which is a very compelling fight, especially if it's 5 rounds again. And then that could be served as like a placeholder number 1 contender, assuming you do Jan versus O'Malley 2. Put them on the same card unless as a backup option, because then you could potentially have like Umar versus O'Malley 1, or obviously rematch the other guys depending on how that plays out. I think it's great. I mean, this is all under the pretext that Jan can pull it off, but I'm ruined for him. No mercy. I feel bad just because, like, if it wasn't for that knee, he should have already been the undisputed champ. We could have had a good reign with him. He blew it. I don't know how he blew it that day, but he blew it. So we're now living in this alternate universe where Jan is not the champ, and he should be. The man is probably one of the most entertaining bantamweights of all time. So that's my prediction for the fight. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. If anyone agrees Jan can win, tell me. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll do a immediate, hopefully, reaction when Jan wins Saturday night.